Good evening. Um, I want to share with you um, a story that has been there that I was given a long time ago that was shared to me by my mother once as I was growing up. And this story I've kept it with me all along as I've been growing up, and I've used it severally on my preaching plans and in my counseling sessions. But in generally, it is about a situation that was there that resembled the times that we are living in today. So much was happening in a certain village, say like in a village somewhere. So much was happening to this village. Cases of very heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories were going about. Mara, someone has killed someone. People are dying from an infectious disease that had no cure. Children were dying. Very unfortunate things were happening. I don't want to mention names. Then people were very scared. They were living their lives very, very scared. They were feeling like they couldn't understand what was really happening. They were in a state of shock. They were very traumatized, and no one knew who would save them. But as they were in that state, a few elders gathered courage, and they decided to come up together and investigate and come up with a solution and actually try to understand what was really happening to this society. This group of elders sat down, evaluated, and realized that the source of this bad news, the source of all that was happening against the society, against the community, came from one enemy, the devil. It is the devil who was moving around and causing chaos and wreaking havoc in families, in the society, in that particular community. When the elders actually realized that it was the devil, they decided to come up together and call the youths of that society, of that village, so that they can come and also share in on what needs to be done to overcome the enemy, who was then the devil. When the elders were called together and the youths came to be with the elders asked if there is anyone amongst the young generation who thought they could volunteer and go after the devil, because the only solution they were finding was to kill the devil. Definitely a few brave young men volunteered, about 3 of them. But the initial task needed 2 very brave, very strong young people. Eventually 2 young men volunteered. I'll call them 2 young warriors. And they decided that whatever it takes, they'll take up the task. They sacrificed their lives for the sake of their society, of their community, and the future of their generations. The women came together and prepared food that was enough for these young people to store and embark on their journey. The elders and the artisans actually prepared weapons of warfare, the knives, the simis, the spears, the arrows and bows. They also prepared, the best artisans volunteered for free and made items of war for the 2 young men. On the particular day, very early in the morning, these young men embarked on their journey to go and look for Satan and kill him. Now it took days. They went along from village to village, but what they saw, there was a trail that was left behind in the villages that they were visiting by devil. the same things that were happening to their village had started happening in other villages, because the devil was actually fleeing. He was aware that something was being prepared, or these men had come up with a strategy to finish him. And he knew deep inside these guys were determined, and the societies were tired, and they had to come up with something. So he started fleeing. Now, these men spent countless days, weeks, before eventually coming up near where they were told devil was, just like 2 days previously. They gathered hope, and they knew eventually that they were almost near to accomplish their mission. Then they would either kill the devil, and they were also ready to be killed if need be, because they had sacrificed their being, so that at least they can accomplish that which they had been sent to do. So these two young men were able to get a glimpse, and they interviewed a few people in that particular village, and these people were able to tell them, this devil that you're looking for was here actually 2 days ago. Now these men continued, now more faster and more determined, to go after the enemy. Then one day, after spending the whole morning near the banks of a river, they caught a glimpse of Satan, and the moment he saw them, he disappeared in the bushes, and they went after him. The devil realized that these guys were so determined, and they were almost catching up with him. So he hatched a plan. In the next village, by the road, he sought a very clear path where he knew these men surely must pass by. And he took a bag of banknotes, a lot of money, and put them in the bag, and then laid it strategically by the road, where these two men will be able to see as they passed by. And then after a few hours, these men, yes, really came about and saw the bag, and they suddenly stopped. They could see the devil clearly, but they decided first to check what was in the bag. They opened the bag, and to their surprise, the bag was full of cash. It was new banknotes, full, millions of money. So in their mind, they decided, before we continue with what we were doing, can we first decide what to do with this money? Devil is not a problem. We are sure now we are going to kill him. And eventually, actually, we have even gotten a glimpse of him, and we have seen how scared he is. He is running away from us. So surely, we are assured that we are going to kill him. Now, every kind of thought started running in their minds. One was, they started feeling angry. They started to realize that they needed clothes. They started to realize that they also needed food. They needed other things. They forgot their main aim, that was to run after the enemy and finish the enemy. Now, as they were going, as they were perusing the bag and counting the bundles of and checking how much it was uncountable because it was a lot. Now they came up with a plan and decided, let us divide this money amongst us. They agreed, but then one of them said, no, instead of us dividing, remember we are angry. Me, what I think is, before we divide this money, we take a small amount, then take one bundle, then go to the nearest market, and because we are very angry, we are tired, buy some water, get some supplies, buy ugali, buy nyama choma, let's feed and get some energy to kill the enemy. It sounded a very good idea, and actually one of the brothers agreed, and he volunteered to go and buy the supplies in the nearest market. As he left to buy the supplies, the brother had a plan that why should I wait for him to come back? Then we divide this money. This is a lot of money. If I keep this money to myself, I'll have it all to myself. I'll go back to the village and build a very big house. And everyone will know I'm so and so. I'll also be feared. I'll be revered back in my village. I'll buy the biggest SUV. I'll drive a Prado. I'll drive a Land Cruiser. I'll drive a big car also. I'll buy 2 or 3 of them. I'll be very rich, and I will buy anything that the rich man can buy. I'll also be a rich person. It seemed a very good idea to him. And then also, as the brother also bought the food, an idea also crossed his mind and decided, why do I have to share the money with my brother? If I buy some poison, put in this food, and take the food to him, he will eat and die. And then all the money will belong to me. I'll go back to the village and build a big house, buy a big car, and cruise around just like everyone else. I'll also be rich. It's an opportunity for me also to become rich. He did so. He bought the food, packed it well, and also bought some poison and put the poison and laced the food with poison. Then he started going back to where he had left his brother. And just as he approached, the brother and relocated. So when he saw him coming, he took out the spear that was laced with poison and pierced the brother through the heart, and he died instantly. Then he took the food and started eating. And immediately started eating. Your guess is as good as mine. You know what happened? They both died. The food was laced with poison. And so, the devil started laughing because his plan and worked. What is the moral of the story? The moral of this story is actually, this happens to all of us. This is the society that we are living in. We tend to forget that we all have one common enemy. As a society, as a people, as Christians, as brothers, our enemy is not so much the people that we live with. It is not that brother, it's not that neighbor. It is not that other person that you're envious about. Our enemy is one common enemy. It is the devil. And once we realize that it is the devil that we are all fighting against, and stop looking at these other distractions, anger, food, and concentrate on the enemy. When your brother maybe offends you, instead of you focusing on you also offending him, 2 rights don't make a right. It is the high time you also thought about what is the source. Why is your brother doing that? You pray for him, you encourage him. Yes, take time and pray for your brother when he offends you. It is better than when you take it also against on yourself and start also reciprocating, because that is what happened. An eye for an eye. In a few years, the whole world will be blind. God bless you.